From heirs popping up out of nowhere to deed restrictions older than we are, title searches uncover some crazy stuff. Today, we're sharing the things we've found and breaking down some title terms you've probably heard but never maybe fully understood.
Fun.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So people like to say title is boring. All we do, we just do paperwork. We do click on the computer. And there are so many things we see every day that are the opposite of boring.
Title's definitely not boring.
It is definitely not boring.
What do you say, Tab? It's always like a soap opera.
Yes.
It is. It is.
I mean, you have to untangle so many different situations and scenarios that no file is the same.
No.
No family is the same.
Personalities and problems.
That is real.
Whenever bad personalities and bad problems meet, that's bad.
Yeah, it definitely brings out the best or the worst in the family drama of it all.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about some of our crazy title finds and some of our best memories, I guess, of title issues?
Would love to.
Yeah, we've got some great stories.
So I've got one about an estate. So the people who owned it, it was, okay, so this is going to be like crazy stuff popping up on title and a little bit of forgery mixed in.
Mm-hmm.
So grandma and grandpa owned the property. They both passed without a will. So it went to their only child, grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
No. Great grandma, great grandpa owned it. Now grandpa owns it.
Gotcha.
Okay. Grandpa had 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
One son was deceased. That son, he had one child. So grandpa has a son, a daughter, and a grandson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
3 generations.
3 generations. Everybody agreed grandson gets the property.
Mm-hmm.
So what grandpa did was sign a deed from his parents' estate to the grandson. The only problem is they never probated the estate. There was no will. They did nothing. And so he did not have authority to sign on behalf of the estate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that, so I was like, okay, that's a problem, but it's fixable. Everyone's in agreement. So, okay. So we found aunt and uncle of the person trying to sell the property who thought he owned it. Aunt and uncle agreed they'll sign a quitclaim deed giving their portions of the property to their nephew. Well, when they did that, but instead of signing, uncle gave the nephew a better deal than the buyer did. So the whole thing blew up, and now I have no idea if did they fix the title issue? Did the nephew just sign a deed to the uncle? Like,
okay, yeah.
So crazy. Like I really hope that if that's what happened, because I mean, if they're just going to do it amongst family, why would they fix the title issue? So if the uncle did get the property, I really hope when he sells it, the people searching the title company goes back far enough and figures out that grandpa was never allowed to sign on behalf of his parents' estate.
Ongoing cloud on title.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, there's nothing I can do about it because we didn't do the closing. Yeah. And then I just know.
And now it's just like forever in your mind.
Yes. Like this property always has a problem. Somebody needs to fix it.
And so it only came up because the nephew / grandson was selling the property.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to digest.
Right. But all of those people in that chain of title still have an interest in that property until they're accounted for.
Yep. Proper
paperwork is signed, recorded, requirements satisfied to provide clear title insurance.
Yep.
And boy, oh boy.
Did you have to draw out the family tree?
That one wasn't as difficult. I always draw out the family tree just because I'm a visual thinker.
Mm-hmm.
So that one wasn't that bad. But I did have one. It did close, so we got everything fixed. But it was a similar situation where grandma and grandpa died. They left it to all of their children, but a lot of those children had died, so we had to deal with their children, and that was probably like 18 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had spreadsheets. I had Word docs with all my notes because there were so many people, and then, family is family. So some of them were like, I won't come when that person comes, So I think we did the closing over 3 days.
Wow.
With so many, and also they wouldn't fit in the closing room.
Right.
I know we have so many stories about heirs that are just out there, but it reminds me of one in particular before we move on to other issues and other scenarios. But we had a family recently that was trying to sell a property. They said that they had, one child, and then it come out before closing that no, they didn't, in fact, just have one child. They had one that they had disowned because they were transgender. And I'm like, you can't just choose to kick someone out of the family like that. Like, they still have a right to the property. And so that whole deal fell apart because I can't remember if they couldn't find them or if they were like, no, we're not going to sell.
I don't remember either.
But however, it fell apart just because they were trying to hide the sibling to the guy was trying to sell, and he was like, well, they were disowned. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
They still have interest.
Yeah.
I had one where one of the heirs was homeless.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
we could never find him. They didn't know. They knew like 3 months ago he had lived at this place, but like they had no way of contacting him, finding him, and so that file's still just sitting there.
Yeah.
We also had the homeless person. This was years ago. And remember, the agent went to downtown Nashville, found him. He had an ID, came in and signed.
Wow.
His dad was buying him the property
Yes.
just because he had had some setbacks in life. And he just wanted to buy him a home, cash deal, set him up for success. He came in, he had a dog. The agent took him to the property. And then I got many, many phone calls after that from him where I don't know that the house saved his soul.
Oh, gosh.
But, I mean.
It was a nice gesture.
Yeah.
From the dad.
Yeah. It's always wild how the family tree
Yes.
comes into play and how so many people buying and selling do not understand the importance of everyone being accounted for,
Mhm.
which gives us the opportunity to share what the title insurance covers. But it always amazes me how we do bring it all together, whether it takes a month, 6 months, a year, and then we've had deeds, 20 plus people signing off because whatever year this person died in, or whatever the will said, or if there had been people that were disinherited, if that's the word. But when we bring it all together, it's just a celebration. Like, we celebrate the small victories because it was a huge puzzle to piece together. And
I would like to ask Tab, would you please tell our audience, our listeners, what would happen if one of those heirs got missed and didn't sign?
They could come along at any moment and say, that property I have interest in and I want it. And if we issue title insurance on that without that person conveying their interest, then we have a claim against us with our underwriter that will be long, lengthy, and expensive. And this is why we will not proceed with closing, no matter what gifts you bring us, no matter
what sob stories you tell us.
Stories. If there's a human out there and they're in the chain of title and they're unaccounted for, we will not close until we have done the right thing for that buyer. And again, it goes back to, there's not a problem that can't be solved. It just takes time. And it may be, a court situation where there's a cloud on title, or there's a few attorneys that are involved that fight to get it marketable. But it just can't close. It can't close. We cannot take a risk like that and even ethically provide a clear title policy to that new buyer or whatever it may be, unless we have done our due diligence and issued the title policy free and clear of any interest and liens.
So, important takeaway. If you're listening and you're like, oh gosh, I have someone, that's kind of missing from my life, or maybe, have someone that's homeless in your family, like go ahead and make sure all your.
Get a will.
Yeah, I was going to say, make sure your
Please.
documents are in order.
Please get a will. And then tell your family where it is.
Yeah.
So that when you pass, they aren't wondering and they can
Mhm.
actually probate it, get it to the right people.
Yeah.
It's really the best gift you can give your
Yes.
heirs, your family, is having all the correct documents in place.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if there's real property, real estate involved.
Anything.
And it
Uh-huh.
saves for a lot of drama.
Yes.
Speaking of documents in order, when you get a divorce.
Oh, yeah. So when you get a divorce, typically the divorce documents say the property that they own together will be awarded to either the wife or the husband. And that's really good information for us to have. But without a deed conveying the title to that spouse, that's not done. Just because you got a divorce doesn't mean your ex is done with the property.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they will tell us, oh, well, I signed that with my attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened to it? Did it get recorded? Is it official?
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
We've done a lot of refinances and sales where ex-spouses had to be tracked down.
Yes.
And that goes into, the legal processes, without me giving legal advice, the legal processes that go into divorces or estates. Sometimes those documents are prepared and signed, but not recorded,
Mhm.
or they're lost. And whatever happens during that transaction, right, for having the estate, the wills, the divorce, does not always transfer to title requirements being satisfied.
Yes.
So I think it's important for our customers to know, even if you do have a family attorney and they are prepping your estates and all of these things, if you're going to sit on the property or whatever it may be, we try to educate our agents and our consumers. Just give us a call and we will coordinate with their estate attorney or their divorce attorney to make sure that they have everything in place, maybe before they list the property, right? That everything's in place so that the title requirements are satisfied to provide a clear title policy.
Mhm.
And that throws a lot of people off because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, but I have an attorney. We did all this.
I paid them $3,000.
Yeah, or whatever it is. And it's like, well, we still need a court order. When it comes to your will and your executor, that's a whole requirement, right?
That is changes per state.
Changes per state. And
Important.
so it's so great. Most of our customers and agents, that is their pause moment, right? They're asking that from the beginning. Is there a state attorney? Just give us that information. We can coordinate. And then we can make sure everything is in place. So when you do get that great offer and you're ready to set a closing date, you know that everyone's been proactive and we've got everything lined up so we can close and it can be smooth.
Another crazy find on title searches is I can't even tell you the number of times I have come back to a seller and said, hey, my title search came back and there's a mortgage showing, and they are shocked.
Mhm.
They have no idea. And a lot of times it's like they got a home equity line of credit.
Mhm.
And if you didn't take any money out, you could easily just forget
Forget
you have
about
that.
it.
Mhm.
But unless it's closed out and released, it is still a lien on your property. And you can technically, don't do this, but you can technically pull money out from that HELOC up until the day of closing.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And so we have to make sure that it's a zero balance. We have to check again right before closing. Didn't you have one tab where someone had like pulled money out for buying something like a
I've seen that. I've seen people pull out of their UC or not UCC. Oh my gosh, their
Their
HELOCs before closing.
Mhm. I mean, that's happened in a lot of divorce situations also.
oh gosh, I didn't even think about
I've
that.
got some wild, maybe explicit stories I could share on some of those, but yes.
But also, since I said UCC, that's another one people kind of forget
Yes.
about because they're usually making, monthly payments on it.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah, I got a UCC lien on my house one time because my air conditioning went out. And I'll just throw this, it has nothing to do with anything, but I had just come back from giving birth. We had been home like 2 or 3 days. and it was June. No, it
Mm.
wasn't. It was May. It was my first kid.
Still
And
hot.
it was hot, and our air went out. Okay, so, and then all the emotions.
That sounds
Okay.
miserable.
So I just had to say that. But
Mhm.
but anyway,
we feel
so
you. I feel you.
so we got the air conditioner replaced, but we did it through our electric company,
Mhm.
and so we got a lien, or we got a loan through them to pay it off, because when you have a baby, you're pretty much poor. And but it's funny because I'm in the business. Once I was done paying it off, I waited a couple months, and then I checked. And I was like, "Hey, my lien's not released yet." So I called them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well once you pay that off, that gets released." I was like, "I know. That's why I'm calling you, because it's
Mhm.
not." And they're like, "Well, let me just check." And he's like, "Oh, you're right. That's so weird. Well, how did you find this?" I was like, "Well, this is my job."
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
average person, consumer, doesn't realize that. And, that's why you've got us.
Yeah.
Because any lien that is filed must be released.
And I don't think they ever specifically said, like, "Oh, we're going to file a UCC lien
Mhm.
against your property." I was just told I was getting a loan,
Right.
and I just happened
Right.
to know because
Yeah.
I'm in the business.
Because you don't have to sign off on it.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't sign the UCC lien. I just signed the agreement to pay them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Other-
That's a good
and
one.
I feel like it's important to say that liens against a property, that's not necessarily you did something bad.
No.
It just means you owed somebody money
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
something.
It is there's a lot of like negative
Yes. Thoughts.
thoughts about it, yeah, but no. Other crazy title fines?
Oh, how about when we find out that either our customer's house or their neighbor's shed or fence or something is over the property line? That sucks.
Yes. Oh, we've had a lot of those
Mhm.
throughout our career. And let's try to explain this.
Easy.
Easily.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
Okay.
So we had one where we had a customer, and then their neighbor built a driveway for their house next door. Well, the driveway actually ended up being on our customer's property. So they were like, "Well, you have two options. You can get rid of that driveway and move it a couple feet, or you can give your neighbor can give you the part that you went over, and then you give the equivalent from somewhere else on your property line." So you're like each getting a triangle, basically. You're giving up a triangle and getting a triangle. So you
Mhm.
still have the same amount of acreage. It's just not the exact same
In
spot.
different areas of the yard.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So that's fine, but you've got to get a survey for those little triangles
Mhm.
so that you guys can deed to each other. But if either of you have a mortgage,
Yes.
or if both of you have a mortgage,
Thank you.
your lender has used your property as collateral for the loan. So if any of your landlines change, your property lines change, that affects their collateral.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the lenders required appraisals to
Uh-huh.
make sure that what the new legal was going to be was still enough value for the amount of money they had lended.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So what you think would be like a simple, easy fix isn't so simple and
No, it took, that one was probably 6 months.
Yeah. And that's happened quite a bit.
It has.
And, even with our customers that we've worked with for years and decades, if they've got a situation like that, thank goodness they call us.
Yes.
And we can say, okay, let's just get started. And we can set everyone's expectations to this could be 6 weeks. This could be 6 months. We've had them go over a year.
And it honestly depends on like how quickly is the neighbor
Mhm.
going to pay their mortgage company the appraisal fee for it to even start.
Exactly.
And so these things are called encroachments.
Mhm.
Give, just off a whim, list off some encroachments you've seen.
Okay, so encroachment is if you own a piece of property and somebody else's something is
Mhm.
on your
In
property.
that case, a driveway.
A driveway or a fence. We've seen a shed be kind of on both properties, so that's encroaching into your land.
Garages, pools.
Oh yeah,
Houses.
We have that.
Yeah, we have a house.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
They built the house on the wrong side of the line.
There's actually more house on the neighbor's property than their own property.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise.
And not all counties have setback lines.
Mhm.
When it comes to the city planning and the county planning, which is always a good place to start. But we also have the pool issue that came up. This was a couple years ago. This was a beautiful, I would call it an estate because it was not a normal, average home, and they had put in a elaborate pool, right? Waterfall pool, backyard oasis. And it went over into the HOA who had owned,
Common area.
the common area
Behind the property?
Adjoining the property.
Oh.
And so the family had said that they had got approval from the HOA for them to extend their backyard oasis. And that sounds good. That sounds great. That sounds wonderful, but we need proof. We need the current, board of the HOA to approve this. And that was a very long process because with that seller getting ready to sell that property, and he does have this beautiful, he had offer after offer come in, but that is a situation a buyer is not going to willingly accept. That if we said, oh, we're not going to list this encroachment, this isn't an issue, we look past it, the next time, if the buyer purchases that, the next time they go to sell, it's going to always be an issue. And in real estate, disclose. And I'm not sure that we've ever, that's ever got resolved yet. I don't think we've ever actually closed on that one yet, because the current board of HOA directors did not have any information other than a couple emails going back and forth that was, had been a conversation. Never an approval. So it's almost like someone saying, oh, I'm going to go ahead and put in this pool.
Yeah.
It's going to get worked out. But then there was no proof. And then here you are with this encroachment.
That's going to be a lawsuit.
Would the HOA have to grant them an easement, or would they actually have to deed some of the land to them?
In this instance, they were going to have to deed that portion, to the current owner with the backyard oasis,
Did he
which was
want
beautiful.
to buy that, or did he have the means to buy that?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, the property can be listed, and then the HOA stance, which you just never know. I mean, they're like, if I grant them this,
who else is
going
to
ask and want? Because it had become such an issue that the neighbors were hearing about it, and so just that's when the drama came in, because other neighbors were like, I've wondered about this. So then the realtor's like, what do I need to do? What do I need to say? And that's when we get our attorneys involved, and it's like, I mean, there's got to be some type of agreement, but you do not have clear title.
He's going to have to concrete in that hot tub.
So it's, we always say, you can look at your platted or your plat and see some dimensions, but if you're going to, put in a fence or put in a pool post-closing, like, it's never a bad idea to just have the surveyor, and you can start with the surveyor who, issued that plat. This is on a platted subdivision. I mean, there's so many other situations, but double, triple check.
Right.
Because you could have a setback line. You could have a whole huge backyard, but you could have an electric easement running right through the middle of your property. And these are things that are listed as exceptions on your title policy that you basically accept when you sign a contract in most situations. But never a bad idea to ask someone for their prior policy, right? And then get a look at your restrictions, your covenants and restrictions, if there are any.
We've seen some weird restrictions.
Yes. Well, we've seen, like, no pigs allowed, no poultry, no mobile homes.
No mobile homes. We see that. Sometimes there are restrictions on square footage. Like, if you buy vacant land, there's restrictions on how, big or small your house can be.
Yes.
So even if you're buying land, it's important to try to figure out what the restrictions are.
Yeah.
Oh, land brings me to another biggie.
Okay.
The legal description.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was hoping we were going to say that next.
Oh, my.
That crazy title funds.
We were
some
just
weird
looking at
legals.
one. What did it say? From the gully
Yeah.
to the
Up the gully to the tan oak tree.
the tan oak tree from the 70s, I think.
Yeah, it was old.
So I guess we should probably explain the differences in legal descriptions.
Okay. So you've got a platted subdivision, which is basically where the developer goes to the county and they get approval, and it's your little cookie cutter subdivision where all the houses kind of look kind of the same and everyone's lots are about the same size, so there's a plat, so you know exactly where your line is, you know exactly where the neighbors is, and it's very easy.
Like lot 1 of said subdivision.
Yes, exactly. The other option is called meets and bounds, and that is where you have this many feet, you go north this many feet, then you turn this many degrees, seconds, minutes, whatever, this way, and then you go that direction that many feet. Like you literally follow the directions that I'm putting this in quotes, learned in school.
And important about that, there's always a point of beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, there has to be a point of beginning.
Yeah.
That was a thing for a while. But anyway, the meets and bounds, you literally use that information to walk the lines of the property. So if you do that and you walk the lines and it doesn't connect to the end, we've had that where someone said north instead of south, and so the thing got all wonky.
And that could be half an acre to hundreds of acres.
Yes.
And so, a long time ago back in the day, there were bounded by legal descriptions,
Yes.
which kind of leads us to the Tab property connects to the Melanie property and the old oak tree, and there's no clear lines. And I mean, this isn't even like ancient history. This is like
We got properties now.
Yes. Rural areas. This is often something that,
or like the downtown area,
or historic.
Yeah, historic. But it's like bounded by this, Main Street on the north, and then the King property on the south, and the Harper property on the east, and the Sang property on the west. And do King and Harper still own those properties? You don't know. Did they break it up and sell? It's like you just can't
rely on that.
You can't, and that's the importance of getting a survey. And this is something that we educate our agents and customers on as well. Let us look at the deed if you're on your way to a listing appointment, or you're getting ready to list your property, so we can kind of, at this point in our lives, we can kind of look at a legal description
absolutely
immediately and say, this isn't marketable, because whether you're paying $5,000, $5 million, you're purchasing land that's been here forever, and you want to know what you're purchasing. So you need clear lines of the piece of land you're purchasing on this earth. So that is something that could take time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It depends on the area. It depends on the surveyors in the area's backlogs, but it's got to be worth the wait.
Yeah.
Because you want to own that property and know exactly your land portion forever. For you, for your heirs, for the money you're paying for it. I mean,
you need to know if seller says that he owns 3.6 acres, are you actually getting 3.6 acres? Or especially if it used to be big family property and they just kept subdividing it for different people's, generations, they could actually on paper only own 1 acre and have no idea.
And land values today, there's a huge difference in, half an acre to an acre.
Absolutely.
To 2 acres.
And that happened in my own family.
I know.
Right? And that's why you need a good title team, because that is something that we don't take lightly.
No, we figure it out.
We want our customers to know what they're paying for, what they're getting. Yeah. And if anybody tells you different, you should call us.
Yeah. When you get an offer in for, 10 and a half acres, you want your 10 and a half acres.
Absolutely. So that's a biggie.
Yeah. So these crazy finds are very entertaining, but they're also why title companies exist, to protect you from inherited messes.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yes. Okay, I think that we should talk about some title terms that you maybe have heard, you maybe have never heard, and you just, not totally sure what they all mean.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know our title lingo.
Our acronyms.
Let's see.
Clear to close. Let's go with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. First. because that's kind of got a few parts.
Yeah, and there's some gray areas still with
There's
clear
some
to
gray
close.
areas.
Yeah. So your lender's going to have a clear to close. That means they did all their stuff,
Financing contingencies.
They've approved everything, and they are good to lend you that money.
And they are excited. They are calling you and say, "We got the clear to close. We are all good for closing tomorrow."
Yeah.
And then you call your title company, and then what happens, Mel?
Oh no, I don't have the clear to close for title because I don't have the seller's payoff in yet. I'm still waiting for that. Or
You don't have the final closing package.
yeah. But yeah, there's just, we've got to do our due diligence to make sure that the buyer is getting property free and clear. And that's another, I think we have that on our list.
Well, and just like with the clear to close, the financing contingencies have been met. Those requirements are satisfied. Then that has to come to your title company from your lender. And all of the title has to be squared away on the conveyance and how that's going and coordinated with the seller side. So there's still a process. So if you get clear to close at 3 p.m., that doesn't mean closing time is 3 p.m.
Yeah, because just for the title side, once your lender does have the clear to close, they send us their closing instructions. We take those instructions and we plug all the numbers, all the fees into the closing disclosure settlement statement. And then we send it to the lender, and then they'll send it back. Oh, make this one change or this, whatever. We take care of all that. We coordinate all that so that way all the numbers are final before you come to the closing table.
Yeah.
And sometimes that takes 5 minutes, and that's a lie. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes. Sometimes it takes, back and forth for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, oh, here's this, but I just was told the homeowner's insurance got switched to somebody else, and I'm waiting for that invoice before we can finalize that number. So clear to close is the very first step to get to the closing table. And it's super exciting, but it's not an immediate drive to our office to sign documents because we're not ready.
Yeah, it's great news, but it doesn't mean you can sit down right then and sign.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I like that.
Which brings us to the deed also, because once you get the clear to close and then you're coordinating with the seller if they're purchasing, I mean, it could be just a borrower, but the deed, warranty deed, there's several different deeds. Probably most common is warranty deed, is the legal document that's transferring the ownership. So if I'm buying a house and I get a clear to close, then I want to make sure my title company has verified who is transferring me that property to me. Does that make sense? Easy way to put it. So it's got to be Katelyn, and if she is married, her spouse, Katelyn and her spouse are conveying it to me, and how am I taking title?
Yeah.
So that is your title to your land that has to be coordinated.
Some listeners may not know that there is a warranty deed and then a deed of trust. So do you want to explain also what the deed of trust is? Because warranty deed gets signed by the seller. Deed of trust, if there's a loan, gets signed by the buyer.
And that deed of trust is your lender's lien on your property that is using your legal description, which must be marketable, right? Your legal description, surveyed, meets and bounds, plat. They're using that as collateral for their loan, which is their financing for the property. And deed of trust has many different names in different states.
There's mortgage. I think it's mortgage or deed of trust. That's mostly what I see. But that gets recorded in the, here it's the registrar's office. But it gets recorded, so it's public record, so that everybody knows if they're doing anything with your property, they can see that you just got a loan from whatever bank.
Yeah, that's why you get all that junk mail.
I was just going to say that.
Which goes back to all other liens have to be cleared and satisfied, because that deed of trust or mortgage from that lender who is financing your new property must be in first lien position. So they know whatever happens, they're getting paid off first.
Yes.
Explain what a lien is. People may not know. That's another title lingo.
We just keep saying it.
We keep talking title lingo.
A lien is any kind of debt that would be tied to your property.
Right.
So if you don't pay your HOA dues, your HOA can file a lien against you. Or the UCC, like we said earlier, if you borrow money if you make any improvements on your house and you've borrowed money to do that, they could file a UCC lien to make sure that they get paid.
Taxes.
Yes.
property taxes are a lien. They must be
And
paid.
we don't have this in Tennessee, but other states have income tax,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be a lien. And if you don't pay your state income tax, they can file a lien, and it automatically gets attached to your property.
We can also see child support liens.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is the HOA. So we've talked about that. HOA is homeowners association. So a lot of platted subdivisions have a homeowners association where there are dues that are required, whether it be monthly, annually, however that goes. That's also disclosed at closing. However, if those go unpaid, guarantee you that HOA is filing a lien. So if you've lived there for whatever and you're like, I don't agree with this, I don't want to pay these HOA fines, they will not leave. They will be attached to you and the property, and they must be paid at closing. So I always say go to your HOA board meetings.
That's also a surprise on title sometimes,
Mhm.
where they're like, well, I was behind, but I've caught up, and
Mhm.
your HOA just forgot to release it. So we
Yeah.
got to get that released
That does
before we can
happen.
proceed. Okay, we talk about deeds and deed of trust. So the deed to is your title to your property.
Mhm.
What about a mobile home?
A motor vehicle?
No. So there's a couple different ways, like manufactured home,
Mhm.
mobile home, whatever. If it's not built on the
Affixed.
property, if it's not affixed, and it can technically be hitched up to something and driven away,
Mhm.
that is considered a vehicle.
Correct. You need a title from the Department of Motor Vehicles that has to be cleared.
No liens against the title.
Right. It's treated as if it's a car.
Because
Mhm.
you can have a lien against the mobile home.
That is different than a lien against the land.
Land.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that's good times.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of those. I think it's gotten better.
Let's explain. I think we've talked about most of the lingo, even looking at this, but I think prorations is
Oh,
a
yeah.
big one.
Yeah, that's hard to understand.
It's very hard.
And it's something that's mentioned on every settlement statement.
Yes.
Mhm. So let's think of an easy way to explain.
Okay, so let's say right now we are in the middle of 2025. So there are, let's pretend that we all pay taxes in January at the beginning of the year,
Mhm.
because that's easier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I own a property, and in January of this year, I paid taxes. I paid my property taxes for the whole year. But now it's the middle of the year, and I'm going to sell my property. So I want the buyer to give me a credit for the time that they will own the property.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I'm getting reimbursed for what I already paid.
Mm-hmm.
That's a proration.
So if it's like $1,000, there's going to be a per diem that's prorated
Yes.
daily.
Yes.
So if it's January to January 15th, one person's paying that portion
Mhm.
of the year, and then the other party is paying from the
Jan-
16th to
December
the
31st.
December 31st.
Yeah. So you're splitting the fees so that it's fair.
It's fair, exactly.
And we mainly see that with
property taxes
property taxes.
and HOA.
Uh-huh. Don't we see sometimes
Sometimes
with propane?
propane.
Yeah,
Mhm.
propane. That's what I was trying to think of.
Propane. Sometimes it can be a rental situation.
Oh yeah, I've seen it where if somebody's renting the property and there are like security deposits.
Mhm.
Well, that's not
Mhm.
prorated. That's just kind of credited. But like if they've paid for part of the lease for the month, they'll prorate the
Mhm.
rent for that month. So it's fair.
It's down. It's another way to showcase that title is so detail oriented.
Yes.
Like it is down to the date of when that transaction is closing so that it's fair for everyone. And I'm using buyers and sellers. Sellers can walk away from that property knowing taxes are taken care of. Buyer walks away with the expectations of either they're going to escrow their taxes or they're going to be responsible for that tax bill, which the counties do not always have the most up-to-date records,
Mm-hmm.
right, on that. So that's why you have your closing statement. So it's always a good reference if you ever do see a tax bill that you don't think is right, or it may not always be the most up-to-date.
I'm gonna throw this in here just to confuse everyone.
Okay.
So in Tennessee, we don't pay taxes for property in January.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pay the 2025 taxes until October.
Mm.
So if you sell your property before October, you did not pay your property taxes. So instead, you gave the buyer a credit for the portion of the year that you owned it. So that way, when the bill comes due, the buyer pays the full bill.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets very confusing at tax time.
Mm-hmm.
People get really confused. They're like, well, this whole bill is here, but I only got this amount from the
Right.
seller. Like, that's because that's when the part that they owned it for, and you've got to come up with the rest.
Mm-hmm. It's in arrears.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about taxes and we've talked about HOA and prorations, why don't we explain what the escrows are on a settlement statement?
Oh, yeah. So if you're getting a mortgage, if you're getting a loan, your lender often will collect money in your escrow account. So they will collect every month what your monthly taxes are going to be, your homeowner's insurance. And then when those bills come due, they take the money out of that escrow account that they've been holding it in and pay those in full on your behalf.
Mhm. So tax time every year is always very exciting for your title agent.
Yes.
Because lenders do it differently. Explaining it to, the buyers and sellers on the transaction, because sometimes those escrow accounts have servicers and they do not pay those bills. They pay them in bulk for all of the mortgages that they hold, and they're not going to pay them on October 1st. A lot of times they wait until the deadline, which is it could be the end of the year or the following year. And so if we have to collect those on your settlement statement, if you close in October, there's going to be a reimbursement from someone, either us, your mortgage company. So that's always an extra conversation during tax time months that you need a good title agent for, that can help walk everybody through that, explain it. And that's usually information we get quickly, right? And we're always proactive to explain that to our sellers. But it's always a pause moment if we have to pause and have a discussion. Because taxes, really, even with us and our careers, it was kind of like an aha moment when you're like able to go to the closing table and explain tax prorations easily.
Yeah. Any other lingo or terms that are common during closing that people probably have no idea what you're talking about?
Chain of title?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Go ahead, Mel. Take it away.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take this one. So chain of title is literally just the chain of who has owned the property. The seller owns it, and then who they bought it from, and then who they bought it from, and then who they bought it from, all and all and all until the town was born.
It's why I love title. Once you get a deed, you're forever and ever and ever in the chain of title.
Yep.
Yes.
We've seen deeds back over 100 years, and it's wild, the things that were conveyed. It's, exciting. It's something to celebrate.
It's very fun. If it's a complicated chain of title, we'll print out all the deeds and put them in order, and we'll be like, okay, here's where Judy got it, and then Judy gave it to John. And then where did John give it to anybody? Because now it jumps to this person, and we got to figure out like, oh, John died and it did this, and it's just, it's a puzzle.
Yeah, and your title agent, your closing company is going back in time and reviewing those documents. I mean, we review them line by line. So we are more than happy on closing day that you are sitting at the closing table, because we have been working diligently to get you there, right, and provide a clear deed.
I think another thing I hear a lot is a lot of investors will call, and they'll be like, how's the title look? Probably because they're scared.
Yeah.
And then you'll hear people go, oh, it's free and clear. Well, a lot of people don't know what free and clear mean.
Free and clear, that's just no liens against the property.
No liens.
Clear legal description.
No mortgage.
Yeah.
No cloud on title.
That's right.
Persons
Is that
are
another
accounted-
word?
Yeah, persons are accounted for.
Cloud on title just means there is an issue that has to be cleared up before closing. Anything else that we say in common conversation here that people are like, what the heck are you talking about?
FSBO.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, FSBO. FS.
B.O.
B.O.
Oh my God,
I
sale
need
by
coffee.
owner.
For sale by owner.
She got there. I don't know if she's
Yeah,
going to.
I didn't know either. Woo.
We need more coffee.
Yes, and then we discussed moho. So
Moho,
MOHO is a mobile home.
We've got our internal.
Yeah.
When I type my notes in my file,
Moho.
I abbreviate as much as possible.
Oh, yeah.
CMT, that means commitment.
Commitment. OTC,
Other title
other
company.
title company.
LA is listing agent.
Mhm.
SA is selling agent.
Mhm.
Which a lot of people, that's confusing because
Yeah.
the listing agent represents the
Seller.
seller and the selling agent represents the buyer.
That was another aha moment
Yeah.
along the processing
hmm
journey.
That took me forever to get straight. Like, I don't know what it was, but
Well, selling has the word sell in it. So you think it's you're helping someone sell your property.
what about earnest
hard.
money? Do you think a lot of buyers go into purchasing knowing that they're going to have to put down earnest money?
So,
I mean, I feel like
I feel like I only knew because I worked at a title company when I bought my
Yeah.
first house. That's not
Mhm.
something I would have thought about.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that when we're teaching our first time home buyer classes, we do mention earnest money. And I think that when a realtor meets a new home buyer, that is one of the things I would think most common that they would say, be prepared to pay, out of pocket up front your earnest money to bind your contract. And then also if you're getting financing, usually you have an appraisal fee. And home inspection. So those are like three things I hope comes across like in the beginning. But I think earnest money we've touched on before is an amount that changes with the market. Like it can be any amount, but whatever it is, whatever the significance of it is, you have to be willing to understand that is binding your contract. But if the contract falls through, that it has to be agreed upon between both buyer and seller who walks away with that earnest money. That makes sense?
Yeah. Okay. I think before we wrap up, we need to talk about a term that's come around recently that we get some phone calls about. A lot of agents even call and ask. Sub to.
Sub to, also known as subject to.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a situation where somebody is wanting to sell their property, but and they have a mortgage on the property, but the buyer comes in and says, I want to buy this from you, but I don't want to pay off your mortgage. And it's different than assuming a loan because the new buyer doesn't replace you as the borrower on that loan. Instead, their idea is that they will simply make the payments on your behalf. So you'll sign a deed to this new buyer, so they own the property, but the lender still has interest in the property. The lender still gets paid every month, and it stays on your credit report. It's gonna affect your debt to income ratio in case you want to try to buy a new house afterwards. That's still there.
That was a very good, clear explanation.
Thank you.
Great job.
On our first try.
I know.
Good job. I think
I don't want to say one more thing.
go for it.
Okay, there are situations where this is a good thing.
Yes.
There are situations where it's not. Like it's not right for everybody. And so you've got to really do your research and look into it. If somebody approaches you, or if you're thinking maybe that would be something I could do, to see if that is going to be the right way for you to sell your property.
Correct.
And I think too, it's important to have a lot of conversations with the potential buyer and establish like good communication and trust.
Yes, very important. Well, these terms might sound like legal mumbo jumbo, but at the end of the day, they're all about protecting buyers, sellers, and lenders so the deal can close smoothly. So our job is to make the closing smoother by clearing up the surprises and translating the confusion to make it simple. So hopefully some of this today was simple enough that you understood what we were rambling on about.
And if not, call us.
Yeah.
That's right. Give us a call.
You can also find us on Instagram. What's our Instagram?
It's creative.closer.
That's right.
Mhm.
Or you can reach out to us, Authority, Title, and Escrow.
Yeah.
But if you've got questions, if we didn't clear anything up, or if we made something foggier, reach out. We've also got I think on the link in our bio. Caitlin, you usually say this part. The link in our bio on Instagram for
Confess and close.
yes, confess and
Yes.
close. So
I
you
love
can submit your closing confessions or your closing questions, and then we would love to answer that or read them on one of our next podcasts.
Yay.
And they can be anonymous. You do not have to say who you are, and we do not know. It's a Google
Yeah.
Doc, so it doesn't give us any
we
information.
only know who you are if you put your name in the box where it says you can put your name here.
Mhm.
Perfect.
But if you'd like to be a guest and come elaborate on any of these
Yeah.
topics,
Yeah, great idea.
If you are like, hey, I know a lot about this, then
Or if you know nothing and you want to ask us a bunch of questions
Love
on
it.
yeah, let's
That's a
do
good
that.
idea.
I've been asking my 12-year-old questions.
My daughter asks me every day, when is she going to come and be a guest? And I said, well, we have to wait for a day you don't have school, so maybe fall break.
that'll be fun. Bring your kids to work day.
Yes.
God, there's no telling what they would say.
There's no telling.
That would be fun, though.
All right. We'll see you guys. Well, we won't see you.
We may see you.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.